Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about going tailoring in the Burning Crusade Classic, the benefits of being Tailor versus just getting your tier 4 or tier 5 class armor as a healer, and then finally some profession bonuses, because why not? So I wanted to make a video that did more of a deep dive into the primal mooncloth set and the other benefits of going Tailor as a healer, because I don't think a lot of people have. Most guides out there will just say, if you're a healer, go Tailor, make primal mooncloth. It's awesome. And it is. But they don't tell you why. They don't tell you the difference between the primal mooncloth set and your other alternatives for gearing. So here is your primal mooncloth set. This is a set that's very easy to get. And when I say easy, it's expensive. Like really expensive, because you have to use a whole lot of primal mooncloth, which is a 4-day cooldown when you're a tailor. So it's expensive to make. It requires a lot of materials, but it gives you a whole lot of healing power, a whole lot of MP5, and a whole lot of spirit and intellect. These are very strong stats, especially when you're starting out. And this also works out if you are just starting to play a healer. Maybe your guild's already doing Serpent Shrine. This is great gear. It's going to allow you to compete with the other healers and pull your weight. Back in the day, I even used this set up until tier 6. This wasn't by choice. If I had the time and my guild was actually clearing all of the tier 5 content, I would have tried to get my tier 5, but that's kind of a story for a different time. So in addition to having these really strong starting stats, the primal mooncloth set has a really great set bonus. So when choosing gear for a damage class, it's a lot easier to calculate the max output. For healers, it's a little bit more nuanced than that. Healers need to take into account how their raid performs, how heavy the damage is that's going out. As a healer, you need to take into account your personal healing style and also the healing style of the people that you play with. To some extent, you'll need to take into account how much time you spend in the 5-second rule, which in Burning Crusade, it's a much bigger deal than it was in WoW Classic. So all these things go into making gear choices. So it gives us healers a little bit more flexibility in choice. And even though we have flexibility, tailoring is considered to be by many the holy grail of early healer professions, and not just priests, which are the cloth-wearing healers, but also the druids and the shaman and the paladins too, because we love putting paladins in dresses. So for early gear, you can get this outside of raids, so you're not relying on drops, you're not relying on winning a roll against other people. The primal mooncloth set offers a huge amount of healing compared to other phase, like first phase gear. So when we say first phase, we're talking about Gruul's Lair, Magtheridon, and Karazhan. Alright, I'm making this video because there's a lot of resources out there that tell us healers you have to go tailoring in the Burning Crusade. Trust us, they say. And while these guides are often made by people that took the time and did the calculations, they did a ton of research, they usually don't show their work. But how much better is the primal mooncloth set over your other gear options? So what I did today is I took your primal mooncloth set and then corresponding 3 pieces of gear that you would use from Karazhan, Gruul's Lair, and Magtheridon for the first phase, and also your tier 4 gear. And then we're also going to look at your tier 5 and a belt that you can get from Tempest Keep or Serpent Shrine Caverns. Here is the Priest Tier 4. These are items that are available when you're able to run Karazhan, Gruul's Lair, and Magtheridon's Lair. So a couple things to point out right away is you get more health from these pieces, but you get less healing power. So you'll have a little bit better survivability, but you won't be able to affect the survivability of your party as much. So here's a comparison of your primal mooncloth set versus the Priest Tier 4. So going with the tier 4 over... Oh, you know what? I forgot to show you the pieces that we're comparing. Okay, so we're looking at the chest. We're looking at the shoulders. These are just the slots that would replace the primal mooncloth. Okay. So what I've done here for you guys is I've put together a comparison of your stats between your primal mooncloth set and then also these 3 pieces of gear. So we're looking at the robes of the incarnate, light mantle of the incarnate, and the belt of divine inspiration, which is a belt that you're able to get in the same rates that you would get your tier 4 in. So here is a summary of the stats. So going with the tier 4 alternative on a priest, you would get an extra 760 health, which is nothing to scoff at. If you find yourself getting caught in mechanics and you're dying a lot, you may want to consider picking up some of this higher stam gear. You do get a little bit more mana, 600 mana. You can do an extra spell or 2 with that extra mana, which is great. But when we're looking at the plus healing, just on these 3 pieces, you're going to lose 56 healing power. You're also going to lose 25 MP5. Those 2 stats are pretty huge. So when doing this calculation, intellect is going to contribute to your spell crit. That is the stat off to the side right here. Okay, so here is the priest tier 4 set bonus. The 2 set will give your prayer of healing an additional hot on the players that it hits. But what we're really looking at is the 4 set, because you cannot pick up the 4 set of this gear without dropping the 5% mana regen from the primal mooncloth set. So the 4 set bonus is each time you cast Flash Heal, your next Greater Heal cast within 15 seconds has a cast time reduced by 0.1 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. Greater Heal is a 2.5 second cast, so this would make it 2 seconds if you had it stack up to 5 times. And again, this is a set bonus that you may or may not utilize depending on your healing composition, how you heal with your other raid members, but nonetheless, it's a pretty cool set bonus. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the tier 5 preset, which is the avatar set. The tier 5 is where we start getting a little bit more comparable stats to the primal mooncloth, and also the set bonuses are quite a bit better. Now keep in mind that you can still get the 2 set bonus for the tier 5 without breaking primal mooncloth set. So if you go for a combination of your head, gloves, and legs, you can get that 2 set bonus. The 2 set bonus, if your greater heal brings the target to full health, you gain 100 mana. In the Burning Crusade, you're still going to be downranking some spells. So a lower rank greater heal, if it tops them up, or if you happen to get a crit on a greater heal, a lot of the times that'll top off someone. It'll give you back a portion of your mana. This is pretty huge, especially on long fights, and as you go from your tier 5 content and you progress into your tier 6 content, so tier 6 is Hyjal and Black Temple, you're going to really enjoy that mana return from the set bonus. Okay. So the 4 set bonus increases the duration of your renew by 3 seconds. So this set bonus is very similar to our tier 2.5 that we got from AQ40 that no one used because the pieces on their own weren't great. I think I've seen like a couple priests use them just to gimmick a fight. So having this bonus attached to much better pieces that are great on their own without the bonus, it's great. So that's essentially going to give you a good chunk of extra healing by having that duration a little bit longer. Okay, so when we're looking at good alternatives to the Primal Mooncloth set in Tier 5 content, Tier 5 is when the pattern for Belt of the Long Road drops. This is a very strong belt, probably one of the better alternatives that you can get as a healing priest, and it's a bind and equip. So hopefully you can either get this crafted for yourself or your guild can help you out with the materials needed to craft this. Oh, and I should have mentioned this for the first set that we looked at. Just for simplicity's sake, since we're trying to compare like healing power and just kind of seeing what we can do with the two different sets, I assumed that you put all of the teardrop living rubies into all your gear slots for these 3 pieces, just so we can have more of an apples to apples comparison. So here we're looking at our tier 5 alternatives, and in addition to having the extra health, which is very similar to what you got from the tier 4, you're also going to have an increase in healing power. And then the extra 315 mana, that's going to be like an extra spell cast. Now you still lose the mana per 5, but you do gain some spirit. Spirit is arguably a very strong stat for healing priests due to the 30% regen that they get from talents. Spirit is made even stronger if you're using a regen trinket like Dark Moon cards. If you're playing WoW Classic right now and you play a priest, you should probably go pick this card up. It is great on certain fights, especially the fights where you're constantly spamming. The proc chance depends on the number of hits that you make. So the priests that go Circle of Healing build, it'll take into account like each target you hit with your Circle of Healing. And each one of those is a proc chance. So highly recommend getting this trinket. And you'd probably use it at least for a few fights, probably like Mother Shiraz in Black Temple or any of the other like very spammy fights where you don't have any time that you're spending in your 5-second roll. All right, let's take a look at the Druid Tier 4 gear and compare that to the Primal Mooncloth set. So Druid Tier 4 has a pretty cool, diverse set of pieces. They give you decent healing power, and they give you a lot of stats. The 2-set bonus gives your helpful spells a chance to restore up to 120 mana, which is good. We like getting mana back for doing our job. It's great. The 4-piece, it reduces the cooldown of your Nature Swiftness ability by 24 seconds. I love Nature Swiftness. It is such a great, like, oh crap button, but also you can time it when your party is going to take a huge hit, or if you know the tank's going to take a huge hit, and just like kind of save the day, be a good healer. So here we're looking at the 2 pieces of Druid Tier 4 and the Cord of Nature Sustenance, which is obtainable during Tier 4 content. For comparison's sake, we assume that you're using Teardrop Living Rubies in all of your gem slots just to kind of compare apples to apples. So here are the difference in stats. Very similar to the priest comparison, you get more health, you get more mana, but you are giving up about 56 healing power. Just kind of step down, like it's not great. But with the Druid set, you lose less MP5, which is awesome. So I'd say it's a better alternative comparing it to the priest set. But still, Primal Mooncloth and Tier 4 is going to outperform any of the other gear that you can get from raids or dungeons. So now let's look at the Druid Tier 5 versus the Primal Mooncloth set. The bonuses are, for the 2 set, it increases the duration of your regrowth spell by 6 seconds. And the 4 set, it increases the final amount healed by your Life Bloom spell by 150. Life Bloom is so incredibly good with this set bonus. So let's take a look at the difference in stats that you get from your Primal Mooncloth set to the Druid Tier 5 alternative pieces. So here are the 3 pieces that we're going to be comparing to the Primal Mooncloth set. It's going to be your chest and shoulders from your Tier 5 set, and also the girdle of Zatar. And just for comparison's sake, we're going to assume that in every single socket you're using a teardrop living ruby. You may not necessarily do this since Spirit's also pretty strong for druids. You can use purified shadow pearls if you prefer, or any mixture of the two. And here's a side-by-side stat comparison of the 3 alternative tier 5 pieces that I showed you compared to the primal mooncloth set. So again, as with the other classes, you're going to see an increase in health and mana. You're going to have a little bit more healing power, and you're going to lose some of that MP5. But overall, I think it's a much better deal to go with the T5 alternative. Okay, let's take a look at the Paladin Tier 4 set. Starting to notice a theme with the Tier 4 armor compared to the primal mooncloth set. It is slightly lower healing, a little bit less MP5. It has, for the Paladin set, you're going to get a little bit more critical strike, which is great. So with Paladins, critical strike is important because they have a talent. When you do crit a heal, it will return a portion of that mana back to you. So it kind of has this double effect of healing for more and also giving a Paladin back mana. The 2 set bonus of the Justicar set is that it will increase the amount healed by your Judgment of Light, which is a judgment is a spell that you put on a boss. So when you have your damage dealers or tanks hitting the boss, it's going to return healing to them. The 4 set reduces the cooldown of your Divine Favor ability, which it's a 2-minute cooldown normally, I believe, and it makes your next heal have a 100% chance to crit. These are the Tier 4 equivalent pieces that we're going to be comparing to our primal mooncloth set. So you have the 2 pieces of the Justicar Tier 4 Paladin set, and we're also going to include the Girdle of Truth, which is available in the same tier with Karazhan Gruul's Lair and Magtheridon's Lair. And again, we're assuming that all of your gem slots are going to have teardrop living rubies. So here's the comparison between your Paladin Tier 4 and the primal mooncloth set. You're going to lose 52 healing power, but you're gaining health and mana. You get a little bit more crit rating. You have crit rating that's on the piece, plus you get 0.5% of crit from the additional intellect. And then with the primal mooncloth set, you have more spirit and MP5. Spirit isn't as important for a paladin. They don't have any regen while casting. Their main mana regeneration stat is going to be crit rating. But it could be okay to have that spirit if you do spend some time in the 5-second rule. All right, now let's take a look at the Paladin Tier 5 set. Set bonuses are, each time you cast a judgment, your party members gain 50 mana. That's huge. That is awesome. So you can stick a paladin in like a healer or a caster group. They get a little bit of mana back. The 4 set, your critical heals from Flash of Light and Holy Light reduce the cast time of your next Holy Light spell by 0.5 seconds for 10 seconds. This effect cannot occur more than once per minute. Okay, like situational, I guess. At least when I'm healing, like I find that I do a lot of cancel casting, so like these kind of things that are procs I don't find them as useful. If it was like an on-use thing, I'd be a little bit more happy about it. So here are the Tier 5 equivalent pieces that we're going to be comparing to the primal mooncloth set. It's going to be the 2 pieces of Crystal Forge, the chest and shoulders, and then Girdle of Falling Stars. We like seeing belts with sockets. Oh, those juicy sockets, they're so good. Alright, so looking at the Paladin Tier 5 equivalents versus primal mooncloth set, you get a lot more health, you get a lot more mana, still around the same extra healing as the other tier sets, but you get a lot more crit. And as a paladin, crit is awesome. So, yes, looks good. Definitely would go with the tier 5 alternatives over the primal mooncloth set for this. And of course, all of this depends if you have access to this gear. If you are just playing through like dungeons and like Karazhan, like you might not have access to all of this. So, like my general rule of thumb for crafting pieces or picking up a BOE, I want to use it at least for a month. If I can use it for a month, I definitely got my use out of that item. And this rule of thumb could be different for everyone. It depends. Like I said, the primal mooncloth set is very expensive to craft, especially right at the beginning of when Burning Crusade comes out. Like those cloth cooldowns are going to be expensive. All the other primals that go into making the gear are going to be expensive. It's just going to cost a lot of money. Let's take a look at the Shaman Tier 4 set and compare that to the Primal Mooncloth set. The set bonuses for Shaman Tier 4 is, for the 2 set, your Mana Spring Totem ability grants an additional 3 MP5. This is very similar to the 4-piece Tier 3 set bonus. I'm not sure if there's any difference at all, but yeah, very similar. The 4 set bonus reduces the cooldown on your Nature Swiftness ability by 24 seconds. I love Nature Swiftness. I love it because I can rescue someone, and I love it because if someone doesn't need rescuing, I can kind of like top off my raid a little bit faster with like that Nature Swiftness chain heal with trinkets popped, and oh, it's good. So good. So we're going to be comparing the Primal Mooncloth set with our Tier 4 chest and shoulders, and then the Belt of Gale Force, which is available with the other Tier 4 content. For simplicity's sake, we're still assuming that we're doing Teardrop, Living Rubies, and all the gear sockets. So the difference in stats for Shaman is pretty huge. Let me double check this math. Holy cow, that is big. The other ones, it's like 56 difference. Let's see. Oh, and then, so 195, and then 5 times 18 plus 195, 285. Yeah, those are the right stats. Wow, it seems that, unless I have some numbers wrong, it seems that the Primal Mooncloth set is actually marginally better for Shaman compared to the other classes, compared to their Tier 4 alternatives. They get an extra, like, 25-ish healing. Like, that's crazy. But I guess they make up for it in getting a teeny bit more health and mana. I'd probably rather have the healing power, honestly. Oh man, this is crazy. Okay. I thought that this was going to be more of the same, but the Shaman stats are actually a little bit different than the other healers. It's really interesting to me because right now I'm meaning a Resto Shaman. Okay, so now we're going to look at Tier 5, which is the Cataclysm set. The 2 set bonus, it reduces the cost of your Lesser Healing Wave spell by 5%. Cool, we like saving mana. It's not like stellar set bonus, but we'll see how much we use Lesser Healing Wave. The 4 set, your critical heals from Healing Wave, Lesser Healing Wave, and Cheat and Heal reduce the cast time of your next Healing Wave spell by half a second for 10 seconds. This effect cannot occur more than once per minute. Again, like, I'm not super crazy about this type of set bonus. Like, I guess it's kind of like a baby haste equivalent, but you don't have any control over, like, when you get to use it. It's just procs, and then it's just faster healing. Guess you beat out the next healer is what happens. And then it has a minute cooldown. Like, not super stoked. I am not super stoked about these set bonuses for Shaman. So we're going to compare the Tier 5 Cataclysm chest and shoulders and the Girdle of Fallen Stars to the Primal Mooncloth set for the Shaman. So here's where it gets really interesting to me, because the stats are not that much different. So yeah, you get a lot more health. You get enough mana for another cast or two, but you have almost the same amount of healing power. That is nuts to me. This makes me sad because I didn't want to go tailoring on my Shaman. And now I feel like I might need to if I'm going to keep up. Or, I can just play Ellie. Ellie might be fun. Okay, now I want to talk to you about the other professions in the game that offer good benefits to making your healer more powerful. The first one I want to talk about is a profession that you could pick up and it's always going to be good, no matter what tier you're in, no matter what phase of gear you have, it's always going to be good, and that is enchanting. Enchanting allows you to enchant your rings, and that is only a buff that you can do for yourself. You can't enchant anybody else's rings. But for a healer, that gives you an extra 40 healing power, and that is 20 healing for each of your rings. So the next profession I want to talk about is engineering. In engineering, they get a set of goggles that are usable by engineers only. For Tier 4, when you're looking at the helms, you get about 32 more healing over your Tier 4 helm. It has a meta socket, which meta sockets are very powerful. And if you can get one, it's probably going to be a little better than straight healing. Another alternative that would give you some bonuses is going leatherworking. There are a lot of bind on pickup items that leatherworkers have to craft for themselves, which could be better than some of your raid drops that you could get. You also get Drums of Battle and Drums of Restoration, which is a party-wide buff and super strong, especially if you don't have everyone in your raid being leatherworking like we did back in the day. The Burning Crusade Classic team have stated that drums are going to be changed in some way so that people don't feel like they have to go leatherworking. Leatherworking still is going to be pretty strong, but I anticipate that there's going to be some debuff or something that's going to prevent you from keeping the drums buff up on your party the entire fight. Another profession that could potentially be good early on is alchemy. You can craft a trinket called the Alchemist Stone, which gives you 40% more benefit when using a health or mana potion. So that's going to be like a good chunk of extra mana. While you probably won't use this trinket over other healing trinkets, you are able to upgrade the trinket into a much more powerful version of that same trinket when Sunwell comes out. Then we have jewel crafting, where you have some special gems that you can craft for yourself, which are going to be a little bit more powerful than the versions of gem that non-jewel crafters can use. So we have a little bit more of a benefit to being a jewel crafter. I would argue that jewel crafting isn't as great as going enchanting or going leatherworking, or even engineering in the beginning. If you're doing it just for the bonuses, the healing gem that you can make, for example, you can only make one of them, and it's only 8 more healing over the next best gem that you can make. So when you compare the 8 healing to the 40 healing power that you get from enchanting, it's a pretty big difference if you're just doing professions for the bonuses. If you're picking up professions and plan on making money with them, that's another thing entirely. So tailoring is one of those professions that remains pretty strong throughout the expansion. With tailoring, if you play the game a lot, if you are raiding, if you are doing dungeons, tailoring just becomes that much better. So in addition to being able to craft the specialty cloth cooldowns and make money that way, if you're running heroic dungeons, you can get primal nethers, and eventually you'll get a pattern for a spell strike, or the healer equivalent. I think it's called white mend. And you would be able to craft those for people and charge like a crafting fee for having that nether, since it is a bind on pickup item. When you get to tier 5 content, there are bind on pickup pieces that you can make for yourself, such as Boots of the Long Road, which are a very strong alternate feet piece, I guess. When you're doing tier 5 content, you can make these bind on pickup boots, which are Boots of the Long Road, depending on how lucky your raid has been with having the I think it's a Soul Strider boots drop. That's kind of the good equivalent, but Boots of the Long Road, it's like the easy thing to make. The pattern is not bind on pickup, so you'll start seeing guilds sell those on the auction house or in trade chat, so you can just buy the pattern and make the boots for yourself, and then you have them. And if you are raiding, there are patterns that are going to be just great throughout the expansion. Belt of Blasting is one of them. Like, a lot of the casters are going to want to get that made. People that roll caster alts, it's just an easy, like, really strong piece of gear. If you have that pattern, you can make a little bit of money off of it. And then once we get to Sunwell, there are also some bind on pickup crafted pieces that you can make. So tailoring is a super strong profession to have as a healer. That wasn't really an argument I was making. I just wanted to show you like the math behind it and at what points you're going to want to take some tier gear over your crafted things. But I definitely would recommend, if you are a healer and you're unsure which professions you want to pick, tailoring is definitely a strong option. So I hope this video was informational for you. If you plan on playing a healer in the upcoming World of Warcraft, the Burning Crusade Classic expansion, take this information and allow it to help you make more informed decisions about what you're doing with your character. But in the end, this is a game, so play the game how you want to play it. Like, if you want to pick up professions that make you money and you don't really care about your own personal benefits, do that. Play it how you want to play. The great thing about professions in WoW is that you can always change your mind and you can always pick up something else. So thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to see more videos like this where I do deep dives into gear sets and comparing them to alternatives, please give this video a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more of my videos, please subscribe to this channel. Bye!